In this movie, I want to take a look at iOS 7's Clock app, which is actually 4 different mini apps all in one. Before we open it up, take a look at the Clock app's icon. Much like how the calendar app always shows the correct day and date on its icon, the Clock app shows the correct time right down to the second hand that you can see moving there in the icon. I just think that's a nice little touch. All right, let's open it up. The first function of the Clock app is the world clock. In here, you can add and view the time for cities and time zones all over the world. This is particularly handy if you frequently have dealings with people on the opposite coast, in Europe, or any other time zone where you need to take time differences into consideration. The default clocks in here are Cupertino, which just happens to be where Apple is headquartered, and New York. To add another city, tap the plus button, and either browse through to look for a city, or type the name of a city into the search field. For the most part, only major cities are tracked here, so if the city you're looking for isn't listed, just type the name of a major city in the same time zone. For example, I'll start typing Wellington, and Wellington, New Zealand pops up as a suggestion. I'll tap it to select it, and now I have a clock for Wellington in World Clocks. Conveniently, in addition to the time, I can also see that it's tomorrow over there, which can help me keep my dates straight when I'm sending an email or calling my contacts in New Zealand. You can add as many additional cities as you like. Let's add London. I can see that it's currently today in London, but they're 5 hours ahead of where I am. You can tap the Edit button to rearrange the order of your clocks. Maybe I'll move London here. And you can also tap Delete to remove a clock. So that's the world clock. I'll tap Done. And let's go over to the alarm next. This is for setting an audible alarm, which is especially valuable to have if you're traveling and your hotel room doesn't have an alarm clock, or if you just want to set up a secondary backup alarm. To set up an alarm, tap the plus button. Then start by setting the time for your alarm by using these scrolling dials. Below that, you have 4 options to set. Repeat lets you set the alarm to repeat on certain days of the week. For example, if you need to get up at 7 a.m. every weekday, you could tap Monday through Friday to check them. And then when I tap back, notice the repeat field now says weekdays. If you had chosen only, say, Monday and Wednesday, you would only see those days listed in the repeat field. The next field is label, where you can type a custom message to appear when the alarm goes off. For example, you might type pick up dry cleaning to remind yourself why you set the alarm in the first place. Although for events like that, you might want to consider creating an event in the calendar app with an alert or using the reminders app instead of creating an alarm, but it's your choice. Next, choose the sound you'd like the alarm to play. Your choices are the ringtones installed on your iPhone, including any custom ringtones you might have installed, as well as any songs you have stored on your device in the Music app. Just pick one that you think will wake you up or get your attention. Alarms don't have to be just for waking up. You might set an alarm to remind yourself to pull a cake out of the oven or to go pick up your kid from baseball practice. I'll just leave the default sound. Next, what would any good alarm clock be without a snooze function? With this option on, when the alarm goes off, you'll see a snooze button appear. Tap it and the alarm will stop and then go off again 9 minutes later. I'll tap Save. Notice the tiny clock icon that now appears in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. This serves to remind you that you set an alarm even when you're not in the Clock app. And you can create multiple alarms if necessary. Maybe you're on the road and you have one alarm set to wake you up in the morning and another alarm to remind you to call the home office every afternoon. To add additional alarms, just tap the plus button again and set the alarm. I'll just cancel that for now, though. Also, note that the alarm will play even if you have the phone set to silent. All right, the next section is Stopwatch, which is exactly what its name says it is. The stopwatch is for timing an event, how long it takes you to walk a lap around the block, how long you've been on hold with tech support, and so on. All you have to do here is to tap Start to begin timing. When the timer is going, you can tap the lap button to record the time at that particular moment. So if you're walking or running around a track, you tap lap, and that time immediately appears below. And each time you tap lap, it'll record the time while keeping the main stopwatch time moving. Tapping lap also resets the smaller counter at the top of the screen, which gives you the time for the current lap. When you're done timing whatever it is you're timing, tap Stop. This is more of a pause button because you can then tap Start again to start the stopwatch from where you left off. And you can scroll through to browse your lap times. Press the Reset button to clear all the times and to start from 0 again. And just so you know, the time in the stopwatch stays recorded even if you close the Clock app. So if you've timed something and then need to check your times later after you've closed the Clock app, you can reopen Clock, go to Stopwatch, and your times will still be there. But if you tap Reset, the times will be gone. The last app here is Timer, which I think of sort of a reverse stopwatch. This is a countdown timer where you enter a starting time which then counts down to 0. I like to use this during Thanksgiving to count down the time between turkey bastings. Just select the amount of time you want, then pick a sound you want to hear when the time reaches 0. Again, you have the choice of the installed ringtones on your device. Notice the bottom option here is Stop Playing. This is pretty cool because instead of playing a sound when your timer ends, it will turn off any music or video you might be playing. You might want to set this option if you like falling asleep to music or while watching a video. But otherwise, just pick a sound and tap Set. Then tap Start, and the countdown begins. The timer will continue to count down even if you're not in the clock app. And when it reaches 0, it'll play your chosen sound. Like the alarm, the timer will still play your selected sound even if you have the iPhone set to silent. Now, if you're on an iPad, you have the exact same 4 sections in the clock app, but the layouts look different and some of them offer more information. The world clock, in addition to showing you larger clock faces, which you can swipe left and right if you have more than 6 added, also displays a world map showing the locations and even the weather at the cities you've added. You can rotate the iPad to landscape for a larger map view and continue to swipe to see your clocks. The alarm app works the same as on the iPhone, but you also get this grid showing you exactly when your alarms are set for. You can tap the alarms in the grid to view them and use Edit to change them. Alternately, you can also tap and hold down on an alarm to move it to another location. The stopwatch is also the same for the most part, but you also get a total column in addition to lap number and split. And the total column displays the total time next to each lap. And the timer also works the same, but the layout is again obviously different than on the iPhone, and you get this large circle that visually displays the time remaining. So I'll start it up, and you can see that red bar going around the circle. So the clock app on the iPad has some really nice touches over the smaller screen version, but again, they both have pretty much the same functionality. So there you have the clock app, 4 incredibly useful apps all bundled together.